you didn't. Clear. Hey guys. If you just heard me yelling at Facebook, it was because it was telling me to rotate my phone, and I'm like, listen, Facebook, my phone is rotated. All right, we're dealing with the low battery issue, so I may lose you. All right. Today, I literally emptied out everything in my refrigerator and in my freezer because I want to give you guys a really good idea of, one, what I have in my apartment, cupboards, fridge, freezer, pretty much on a weekly basis. How do I stay on track with the foods that I want to be nourishing myself with so that I just don't fall into bad habits of going to the grocery store last minute when I'm starving. I need to shrink down a little bit. Or ordering food from, a Thai place or even a relatively healthy place last minute just because I don't feel like cooking, because it's easier, because it's been a long day, week, whatever, and I just don't want to deal with it. How do I always have the foods that are in my 80% list, right? If you've seen the 80-20 Warrior Team Nutrition Guide, it's on the website. 80%, those are the foods that are whole foods, foods that you are eating. Your goal is to be eating 80% of the day, 80% of the time. And the other 20% are your indulgences. So I want to make sure I always have those 80% foods on hand, because if I don't, I'm going to get caught in a bad situation, and I'm either going to eat something that I don't necessarily want to eat, but just is more convenient, or I will start to fall into bad habits where I start to order food, or I start to just eat the crappy junk food, right? Like the stuff that we can just store in our cabinets because it's there. So I have to do a little bit of effort for this. The three things that really started to change for me, to change my body and the way I started to develop a healthier relationship with food, was to enjoy the process of making food that I knew would be nourishing for my body. So notice I didn't say enjoy cooking. That's not what I mean. For some of you, I think that you truly do enjoy cooking. I don't on a weekly basis. Like, for me, it's just a job to be done. So I needed to learn, what I started to experience was learning I enjoy nourishing my body with good food. It gives me like a spark of whatever the feel-good hormone is, that I'm doing something that's taking care of myself. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to cook a gourmet meal for myself or do all this really intricate stuff, because number one, I'm just cooking for me, and I pretty much like simple tasting foods, but it is really easy to jazz up meals that can be delicious, but you don't have to put a lot of effort into. So this is like the Christine version of 30-minute meals by Rachel Ray, but I think I'm better at it. So, and they're definitely healthier. Let's be honest about that. Okay, so let's go through the foods that I normally keep in my refrigerator on a weekly basis. I either go to the grocery store and I buy these things, or I order them on Fresh Direct about every 2 weeks and have them delivered to my apartment, because it's a lot of food, to be honest. Also, the key for that is I can order some foods in bulk. So for instance, I often buy 5 pounds of chicken breast at a time. This is from Fresh Direct. It's all natural, raised without antibiotics or growth stimulants. So they say it's not organic, but it's 5 pounds. So why do I buy 5 pounds at a time? I actually buy 10 pounds. I buy 2 of these. I freeze this. This was in the freezer. And then the other 5 I put into my crock pot right here. Boop. And I make a huge amount of pulled chicken. Now, you may have seen one of the recipes I like to use for this is easy. I put my favorite salsa, whatever kind you like, half of it in the crock pot. Then I put all of the chicken, all 5 pounds, in there. And then I put the rest of the salsa in, put a little water in, and leave the crock pot on high for about 8 hours, whatever it is. It's done because you take 2 forks and the chicken just shreds apart with no effort. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So that's kind of like a Mexican flair. a little bit of a spicy flair to pulled chicken. This time, yesterday, I did something totally different. I was really in the mood to make something Indian inspired. So I'm going to post it in the group because I took pictures of it, but I used them both. I got 2 spicy red curry mixes from the grocery store. And then I got one sort of like chickpea, I think it was like a chickpea dal mix, I'm not sure. And again, it was like in a package. It was in an aisle with some other, like the rice was there. There were a few like, I don't know, ethnic cuisines there. So I poured all of that into here and created pulled chicken with those flavors instead, and it came out really good, like really good. So what I do is I take half of this, I put it in a solid Tupperware and I put it in the freezer, and then I take the other half and I put it in the fridge. So I have half for a few weeks or whenever I feel like it, and I have half for this week. So that's one thing that I do like every 2 to 3 weeks, but I have multiple weeks worth of food. So that's one key. Another thing that I buy in bulk is ground turkey, and I make a lot of ground turkey, really basic. I use oil, I saute onions in olive oil, I put the ground turkey in, and then I use Cavender Greek seasoning. I literally put this on everything. Cavender all-purpose Greek seasoning. I get it from Bed Bath & Beyond, but I think I also order it on Amazon if I can't get to Bed Bath & Beyond. I put this in my vegetables, I put it on my turkey, I put it in my eggs. I rarely use other spices, to be honest. Okay. So what else is in my fridge? So we covered that. So I always want to have at least 2 different types of proteins already made in large, kind of like a few days quantity for my week. So my chicken is one. I sometimes have turkey, the ground turkey. I do always have these frozen Jennie-O turkey burgers in my freezer. I love them. They come like this. I usually saute 2 or 3 at a time, and I'll have this on its own with a side of vegetables. Sometimes I'll chop it up and mix it into an omelet. Other times I make, I don't have them today, but they're the Thomas, I think they're Thomas's flat rounds. Like, it's not quite a bun, but it's pretty flat. And I'll have the turkey burger with that, with a slice of tomato and avocado. Oh my God. I don't understand why it tastes so good, but it does. So that's another one of my favorites. I always have eggs. Always have eggs. I used to only eat egg whites, but I actually love the yolk now, especially when it's over easy or soft boiled, and it's obviously way more filling with the yolk. So I usually cook up 2 eggs if that's my sole protein in a meal. I generally buy organic. These are not, probably because they were on sale, cage free, whatever. That's probably why I bought them. So I'll have 2 eggs that I will cook up at a time. Another protein that I often buy from Fresh Direct are turkey meatballs. I eat a lot of turkey, I notice, but turkey meatballs. And as an Italian snob whose grandma's meatballs are the best in the world and nothing will ever compare, okay, yeah. These are pretty good. The sauce is pretty good. It's turkey meatballs, so I can forgive the fact that they're, not a solid meatball. So I usually have 2 of these. They are each 4 ounces. Yeah. 4, 6. They're about 3 to 4 ounces each. So I have 2 pretty much per meal if this is my sole source of protein in a meal. Let's see, any other forms of protein? Not really animal protein. That's pretty much it. So I always have this. I buy 2 of these, and I put one in the freezer just for when I want it again. It's just easier to buy it in bulk so I don't run out. That's kind of the goal, is to not run out of food. I do go back and forth with Greek yogurt. Sorry, this is super bright. With Greek yogurt, I kind of only get it when I'm in the mood for it. Lately, I've been on a Greek yogurt kick. I get the 2% fat, and I'll mix like a quarter of an apple chopped up, cinnamon, a handful of almonds, and it's just so delicious. I feel like it's my favorite evening indulgence. I just love it. So, but this is a good source of protein too, if you can tolerate dairy, obviously. So I have a dairy limit, but this doesn't tend to bother me unless I like overdo it, but it's so filling that I tend to not. So per cup, this has 23 grams of protein in it, which is very high. I would say it's about equivalent to the serving of chicken that you'd have, 3 to 4 ounces. 4 ounces, about the same. Okay. All right, let's move over to vegetables. So frozen vegetables are my friend. I buy them all the time, whether it's frozen broccoli, frozen spinach, what else have I bought? Frozen mixed vegetables, frozen peppers and onion mix. That's a special one. If I see that in the store, I grab like 5 of them. I love that. This they make at my grocery store, or they have there. It's not frozen, but it's a nice mix. So I will commonly, and I've told you guys before, I make this easy. So I buy pre-cut onions. I pour them into a pan with olive oil, let them caramelize, and then I just pour in whatever mix of greens that I want. I have, where is it? I have at least 1 or 2 Tupperwares of different greens in my fridge all the time. All the time. At the least two of my meals are half the plate is vegetables. So this right here is some broccoli, this is some onions, this is one of these broccoli slaw and snow peas mixes, and then I think I also put some shredded cabbage in there. It's like the coleslaw cabbage, which comes like this because your girl's not gonna cut up cabbage. It's too messy, guys. It just gets everywhere. It drives me nuts. So I buy it when they have it like this, pre-cut, fresh. Probably because it's going bad in a few days, but I cook it up fast enough. I've never gotten bad vegetables. Another thing I'll scoop up if they have it are pre-cut peppers. Yay! And I will just toss these into a saute and let them get nice and sweet. I usually saute them with the onions. They all get nice and sweet and caramelized together. Guys, my food tastes good. I'm just saying, it's good. Okay, other things I buy frozen are frozen sweet potatoes because I don't want to cut them up, and I also don't want to wait 45 minutes for them to cook. So these are really good. I get it from Fresh Direct. It's fire roasted sweet potatoes. Like somebody fire roasted them. I didn't, but they even come with like the charcoal marks on them. It's really good. So I heat them up in a pan with a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil, whatever I'm in the mood for. And I'll have these on the side. So good. So that's another thing that I buy frozen. I don't make rice because I usually screw it up. So there's just so many great options of frozen rice out there. Even in my regular grocery store, they have it. Not even frozen, in the aisles. Go figure. Trader Joe's also has a ton. So I buy frozen rice, keep it in my freezer. When I want it, I just heat it up. Okay, other vegetables. Spaghetti squash. If you are a pasta lover and you want to find ways to decrease the amount of carbs that you have, but you still want to feel like you're enjoying pasta, get spaghetti squash. I'll share my recipe. You cut it in half, you bathe it in olive oil, the inside, and a little salt and pepper or my Cavender seasoning. You roast it for about 45 minutes in the oven, and then you take a fork and you shred it, and it shreds like spaghetti strands, if you will. I take the turkey meatballs and I put it over the spaghetti squash. It's really good, you guys. I mean, it's obviously not pasta, right? I'm not like a brainwashed fitness freak, okay? I know what pasta tastes like. It's not pasta. But for the substitute of its own thing, it's really good. It's so good. It becomes really salty and really savory. Really, there's like a little bit of sweetness in the squash. Not crazy sweet, just a hint. And when you mix it with the olive oil, it just becomes really juicy. It's just really good. Really good. If you've never tried it, highly recommend it. All right, what else do we have? Almond milk is a staple for me. I put in my coffee all the time. I get the unsweetened vanilla. It's 30 calories. Sometimes I also get the cashew milk. Mustard's a staple for me, you know, because I put it on the turkey burgers and stuff. Avocado's a staple for me. Good healthy fats. This one's pretty ripe. Let's see. The other things I have here are kind of my indulgences or my carbs. So sometimes I feel like having tacos. I have these corn tortillas in my fridge. This has been in my fridge for a long time, a few months, but whatever. I keep them in there. Actually, they go in my freezer. I freeze them so I can have them for a while. And when I feel like having it, I have two. And it makes a nice little homemade taco. This is something that I have and I make pancakes from. Kodiak cakes, flapjack and waffle mix. Originally I thought that it had like a special amount of protein in it, but I found out later it doesn't. But I do enjoy the taste of it, so I will make blueberry pancakes every once in a while, and it's delicious. So I have that. I bought this popcorn the other day for the first time. I like I almost said kettlebell popcorn. Hello. Kettle corn, the sweet and salty kind. So I had that for a little bit of sweetness and freedom to kind of pick and not be so mindful. Again, I just bought these today actually to try. They're frozen muffins. Little disappointed on the size, like they're pretty small, but the ingredients were good, and these are made with sweet potatoes, coconut oil, almonds, cage-free eggs, and unprocessed sugars. So I'm like, hey, what the hell, I'll try one. It was okay, just okay, but if I do want something sweet or I want something almost cakey, because I do love cake, that is a better option than me, going to the nearest bakery and buying a cupcake. It's just a healthier ingredient combination, so I'd rather do that and get my fix that way than always needing to go to the cupcake store. Don't worry, if I really want a cupcake, I absolutely go get one, but this is just a good option to have as a plan B. All right, I think I've gone through the majority of what's in my fridge. The things I have in my cabinet are coconut oil, cinnamon, olive oil, salt, I have honey, and that's pretty much, I have some apple cider vinegar and balsamic vinegar, but that's pretty much all I use. I would say the key to start cooking more at home is to start with one or two recipes that you want to try that taste completely different from each other. So have a really savory recipe and then maybe have something that's a little bit more sweet. And just start there. Something that you can repeat, something that's quite easy to make, that's not going to take up a lot of time. In the beginning, meal prepping used to take me way longer than it does now because I've kind of streamlined the process. I also do multiple things at once, like I have the crock pot going, I'll make a pan of sauteed veggies, I might have something in the oven at the same time, so everything is kind of happening at once, and it doesn't monopolize an entire afternoon or evening for me. Let's see. Planning is a big part of it as well, and as you start to get in the habit of thinking more mindfully of what you're going to be eating that day, it will absolutely help you in planning your meals, in knowing what you have in your fridge, in doing the extra work on a certain day to go out and stock your kitchen for the week instead of doing the last minute, grocery run here, seamless run there. I used to be a seamless subscriber. What I mean by that is I would order something off of Seamless every night for a long time. I just didn't want to meal prep. I had it. That was it. And I ordered whatever I wanted, whether it was sushi, Thai food, whatever. But my point is, I got into a habit of ordering foods that were way richer than I would cook, and I would just overindulge in them because I would see the portions that they gave, so I would give myself a bigger portion. And I knew that I was probably eating more calories than I wanted because I would eat past the point that I felt full. So I started to shift that habit by cooking, like giving myself the goal of cooking 1 or 2 times a week and weaning myself off the food ordering process. It doesn't have to be a 0 to 60, like 180 flip. that was two analogies in one. It doesn't have to be a 180 flip. It can be a gradual, okay, we're going to start to implement this, and we're going to start to explement that. Exclement, that's a word, right? We're going to start to implement this healthy habit, and we're going to start to slowly wean ourselves off of this habit that's really not working towards my goal. So that is my spiel for today. I am going to be doing a nutrition talk with you guys once a week here. So for suggestions, give me them. I want them all. I love you guys. I just recorded our bicep and tricep workout before this, and it's a good one. So that's going to be up for tomorrow. Mwah! Love you all. Bye.